Hello, and welcome to the Libri Labra book club. I am joined today by my husband, John, aka BookTube Hubby, and also by book club VIP member, Tom. And we are going to start by going over initial thoughts, and then we will jump into spoiler territory. So if you have not read the book, definitely go do that and then come back to hear our discussion. Also, before we jump into talking about the book, just wanted to let you know that if you ever want to join us on camera during our discussion, you can do that by becoming a book club VIP member on patreon.com/Libri Labra. And there's a few other perks like seeing some behind the scenes when I make videos and helping me decide what I'm going to read and what I'm going to review. And also you get to be part of a chat where we're talking about the different media that we're consuming. So this was my pick, and I picked The Violin Conspiracy by Brendan Slocumb. And it was funny how I heard about this book. I heard about this book because I received a survey from a publisher, and it was right before they had released the redesign of this. And so I got a bunch of questions asking how I felt about the redesign and if I would purchase it. And I was like, don't do it. Don't redesign it. And so I went on quite a search to find this book in hardcover with this cover because I felt like it spoke to me so much more than the redesign did. But I guess they were looking to have it match his second book, maybe, which is called A Symphony of Secrets. But it is about a Black man who plays classical music and a very expensive violin that goes missing, and his life, and it kind of shifts perspectives and stuff. So very glad that we read this. And initial thoughts.
I had no idea what I was getting into, so
Okay, so
I liked it.
that's what you got.
I mean, I don't know what else.
Was anything confusing for you the way it was laid out? Did it all make sense?
That's not first thought things.
I feel like it is. All right, you liked it. That was your initial thoughts. All right, Tom.
I've heard about, musicians not necessarily classical, leaving like stuff in cabs and all that sort of stuff. So I was like, okay, let's see how this one turns out. So I thought it was ended up being a good story. So
I did not expect it to be quite as emotional as it was. And I think I listened to most of it and I tried to read along when I could, but I didn't have a full awareness of the time jumping or like where the chapters were in the timeline. So I was kind of like basically just figuring things out from like context clues and stuff. But I think I may want to go back and just kind of look at the beginning of the chapters because I know they have like 4 months before, 14 months before, like so, and just to kind of see where things were set up. But outside of that, I thought it was great, and I really enjoyed it. So at this point, we can definitely jump into spoilers, though I'm not even sure where to start other than by saying it was really, really emotional. I spent a lot of time crying because I wasn't expecting all the racism, which mostly because that's not something that I deal with in my day-to-day, and to see it come up in Ray's life so often, and like just, I mean, it's so stupid. Like just, I called John at some point and I was like, what is wrong with people? What is wrong with people? And then I was like, then the next time some racist thing happened, I was like, I think I hate people. Like, and I was just very, very upset. And obviously the author is writing from some real life experiences. And Tom, did you get a chance to read the author's note?
I believe I did.
Okay. All right, so he basically identifies very specific spots in the book where he was like, these things came directly from my life. And then he also mentions how he would tell friends about the things that he experienced. And a lot of people would be like, that doesn't happen. That doesn't really happen. And like, man, so not only is he dealing with these like horrible racist incidents, but then you have people that are not even believing. Like, way to add insult to injury. Like, I don't know. Ugh.
Like everything piles up on him. Like I can't imagine having to deal with all of that stress, and it sucks because it came at him from every angle, just because of the violin and nobody actually wanting to believe that he actually had more of the talent. I don't know. There's a lot in this, and there was so much racism. It's not. I mean, having to. A lot of people don't understand how much they go through.
It was. I don't know if it does. It ever mention like the year?
I was actually wondering about that too. If it was supposed to be something a few years ago, or.
I mean, I don't know. When was this released? Hold on.
But when does it take place?
Does it say? Does the first chapter say?
Having to deal with your family even fighting you on things.
Oh my god! The lack of support from his family was tragic. Although, like, thank God for his grandmother, right? So it says copyright 2022. This one's released. So obviously his grandmother was like just a pivotal person for so many reasons, for giving him the violin, for being supportive, for inspiring him, and like trying to be a protector from like all his aunts and uncles. And those are some insane challenges to go through, like not only to have to fight your way through a very white
dominated field.
Yeah, and then to have your family like not want you to do it and try to discourage you for. But I'm glad the character had what it took to just be like, no, I'm gonna do this, because that's hard to fight against so many systems in place that are just fighting against you. I don't know if I have like a question to like guide the discussion. There was just so much. So you said, it being so emotional for me, you seemed a little surprised that I said that. Mm-hmm. Did you not find that to be the case?
Apparently the answer is yes.
Yeah.
Surprise.
Well,
but yeah, there's some where it's like, when he was in Louisiana, it's like, okay, you guys pulled over by a white cop. What can possibly happen next? Sort of a thing. Not that demeans it in any way, but that's to be expected, which is awful, from first premises, though.
Right. Like, obviously, that was terrible, inconvenient, horrible experience. I guess of all the things he did experience, I feel like that might have unfortunately been the least surprising one.
Mm-hmm.
But I think like the ones that really hit me were him trying to play at the wedding.
Mm-hmm.
And all the resistance that he got there, and then him trying to get the violin repaired. Like, the kid's trying to do like all the right things and functioning like a normal person would, and just to get that back, it's like, why are people so awful? So yeah,
I think what I noticed about that is, okay, it's like you're given your socioeconomic background, you are taking this violin to a mall, essentially, like a guitar center, essentially, saying, here, fix this, which I get. But, it turns out to be what it is. And it's like, oh, no. the person who fixed it, like, ruin it forever, sort of a thing.
Oh, man, there's a bunch of things on top of that. Whether or not, replacing it with what is it?
not even good pieces.
Right, like plastic parts, but
like toy pieces almost.
I mean, I'm just confounded that someone didn't try to weasel him out of the thing to begin with. It was like just trying. Oh, this is had to give him back an old violin or something and try because they realized what they had.
Yeah, but they didn't because it was covered in so much lucky dust or whatever.
Frosty.
So they didn't at all realize what they were working with, because of course I feel like had that been the case, somebody would probably have tried to take it from him sooner, sadly. I still can't wrap my head around having anything of that kind of value.
Dude, all the stress, the idea of insuring it and having to make sure they have the money to insure it, that's crazy.
Like, my most expensive instrument that I have is this sparkly Epiphone Les Paul that we paid like $500 for. And, you know, I've always tried to take care of it. And I think at some point my brother stood it up against the wall or whatever, and it just went, and it like leaned over and hit the floor. And so the pegs kind of like snapped back and I had to get it repaired. But it was a $500 instrument. And I remember like freaking out so bad about it. I can't imagine $10 million.
Right.
Like I wouldn't want to touch it. I'd feel like I have to like preserve it and protect it. And like, I wouldn't, I mean, I'm glad he still played it. I'm glad he connected to it the way he did. And he wanted to keep it and hold on to it and pass it down in his family. I'd be too scared. Because I feel like anything. And you know, there were so many people that kept saying, can I see it? Can I see it for a second? And I was like, imagine some like just loony person takes it and smashes it just to be, you know, evil, because there's plenty of evil people in this book. I felt like that would have been wild. Were either of you surprised by the reactions he was getting from his family, being that like it was so many family members kind of coming at him from the same perspective?
Surprised about what? How he reacted?
No, that there were so many family members.
Dude, everybody want a piece of that $10 million pie.
Yeah. And I thought, you know, it's one thing where if nobody plays violin, well, that's one thing, but we have somebody who has the talent that can make it sing.
So let him go off and make the music, make the money. I mean, that's what he ended up doing. He sent them all of his extra money, which I was even like, why are you doing this? But
because it's just easier.
I mean, it's right, and it was a way to try to appease them, but they weren't appeased.
I seem like they just felt more and more entitled to what he was doing, and I understand that like there's definitely a sense of community amongst family and like helping each other out and like lifting each other up, but like some of the conversations that he had with his mom where she was like, you need to get a real job, and he was like, what, work at Popeyes? You know, like she was like, damn straight. Like, yeah, that's what I expect you to do. Like, that's it's just so hard to be a dreamer and to have people kind of putting limitations on you based on,
and have expectations, and such that, you know, for every like new get rich quick scheme, I say, oh yeah, you should give me the money. It's like, well, no.
Oh yeah, that too.
That's not the way that works.
Just because he's got a $10 million instrument means he's making all the money.
Yeah. The fact that his uncle was like, oh, the bank said they'll hold on to it as collateral and this is a sure thing. Like, when is opening a business ever a sure thing? Like,
no, it's never.
It is not. The stress of all that. I don't know how he was like, because I think he said that the insurance payments were like $2,200 a month or something.
Something like that, yeah. But since he's a touring soloist now, I think he can afford it. But still, even as a touring soloist, with or without the Strat, it's like he's making good money, and the family wants a cut of it, regardless. So, it makes me wonder, or if he had a violin which wasn't attached to the family at all, what then?
Right.
I think what's interesting is that the family never wanted him to have it. And that was before anybody knew its monetary value.
Yeah, nobody gave a damn about it.
Like, nobody was playing it. Nobody was doing anything.
Yeah.
But they didn't want him to have it.
Well, now that it's valuable, yeah. He's the one that I can actually make use of it. It's like the Marx's, niece or whatever. It's like, oh yeah, I'm sure there's a niece that really wants to play that Strat.
That's what I said. Did we actually confirm whether or not the niece existed? Because he even said that.
I don't think we did.
Yeah, okay. Because even he was like, they probably made her up for all I know.
Yeah.
I was making predictions as I was reading. And I was like,
she kept turning to me. She asking me questions. Like, I can't tell you these.
The fact that you have enough resolve to not tell me.
No.
I don't mind hearing spoilers, and sometimes my anxiety is worse than just getting the spoiler. So like sometimes I'll just Google spoilers just to put my own mind at ease. But I
you
turn
mean like
to
all
John,
the time?
Yeah, pretty frequently. So I turned to John and I was like, "Did so and so do it?" And he was like, "You want me to tell you who did it?" And I was like, "No, you don't." I was like, "You don't have to tell me who did it." I said, "You don't have to tell me who did it. I just want to know if this specific person did it."
So the answer is yes. You want me to tell you who did it?
Yeah, as I said, the answer is yes.
It's better than the answer you get here.
Yeah.
But yeah,
as you got further into the book, there's only one person that would make dramatic sense. Because it was just some random rando. It's like, well, who cares? But with this, like I said, there's only one. Could be only one, and sure enough.
Yeah. But John said he was surprised by who it was. Like, did you eventually start thinking that's who it was, or like literally when they revealed it, you were like, "What the hell?"
When the character was like, "Was it her?" I was like, "Man, that would suck if it was her." But I guess it makes sense. But it was just they put a character in there for you to trust, and then.
Well, they had to do it deep too, because it's like when you introduce a character, oh, what's their angle on the violin, sort of a thing. So.
Okay, so I will tell you.
I didn't think it would be an ex or actual current boyfriend pulling the strings. What?
I will tell you the moment I thought it was her. The moment I thought it was her was when, like, right after it had gotten stolen, and he was talking to either. Was there FBI in this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
yeah.
I think he was talking to like an FBI agent, and somebody had started grilling Nicole, and he was like, "You're not accusing my girlfriend." It definitely wasn't her. That was the moment I started feeling like it was her.
He said that?
Yeah.
I don't remember that happening, but okay. I must have missed that.
Yeah, like he was very adamant about protecting her, and from that moment I was like, I don't know.
That's probably a mistake.
Yeah. So, but I did think that she was going to end up being the niece of the Marx family.
Yeah, she was thinking that the Marx family planted her.
That would have been.
That would have been a little more interesting, to be honest.
Too much coincidence. Yeah, no, that's bullcrap. So.
Well, that's what I was saying. I was like that he randomly met at a recital or a gig that he played at in some other city. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, but
that would be a lucky draw for her if that's
so.
the way you look at it and be like, oh, he just showed up, so let me just take advantage of that.
I love how I asked you, was it Nicole? And then not only did you not tell me, but then you started telling me things to try to discourage me from believing that it was Nicole.
Excellent. Well done.
I was like, I can't tell. I'm not gonna.
I was like, she orchestrated the whole thing. She like set things up and slid in there. And John was like, why? By just coincidentally being at a recital? I was like, but was it a coincidence? I don't know.
Yes and no, I would think. But then again, since you brought that up, it's like, how would she know that he is indeed the possessor of such a violin? If it's random, it couldn't be random.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, all of everybody in the music industry was talking about that violin being found or
Right.
uncovered and who has it. So, it could be.
So I think this says somewhere based on a true story. I think, does it?
That would not surprise me.
I don't know why I was thinking that, or if it's just based on some of his experiences, like playing violin and being in like the classical music world. But I was really curious as to how much was kind of based on his own experiences. I think somewhere he's in his dedication, perhaps, I think he modeled Ray after his brother, like Ray's personality after his brother Kevin. But I guess it made me really curious about his relationship with his family outside of his brother.
Right.
But he does thank his mom profusely, his mom and dad, in his author notes or in his acknowledgments or whatever. So hopefully she was more supportive than the mom in the book. Because yeah, that sucked. Like, and at all stages, she was like, he's over here being like, I got a scholarship so I can go to this college, and she's like, I'm not paying for it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah. Did you understand what I just said?
Yeah. And then she smacked him. Like,
Shoot, no.
I don't know, man.
Apparently, that's what works when telling them something doesn't work. And he wasn't listening. I even was stopping to look something up. Now I don't remember what it was.
Did they?
Oh, the narrator.
I've actually heard this narrator before. Did he sound familiar to you? Because he's the same person that narrated Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan.
And
which I did.
Listen to that too.
You didn't listen to the whole thing, but I was listening to it around you. It was the romance where there was a couple and there was like a miscarriage, and they owned a restaurant.
Okay.
And it was like really, there was parts of it that were really funny.
Where do I find this information?
I go to Audible and then.
I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, tap that and then title details.
Oh.
J.D. Jackson is the narrator.
J.D. Jackson. All right, I just wanted to make sure we give J.D. some love because he did a good job.
Okay.
He narrates under a different name as well when he does romance.
Ah.
I guess it's a thing. But yeah.
He did the Nickel Boys.
Oh, did he?
Colson Whitehead book, I think, that we read.
Click on his name, see what else comes up.
That's what I did.
That's how that works?
Yeah.
That's not the
No,
right
that's
one.
that's the author's name. Yeah, that one.
It was narrated by both of them, apparently.
Because Brendan did the author's note at the end.
Okay.
Yes, correct.
Okay. For white folk who teach in the hood.
Oh, I have that book.
It's because it says in your library.
Right, those are the first things that came up.
So, but there's 290 results. That dude's read a lot of books. 2 people.
That's awesome.
Summer Pack, The Racketeer. Yeah, let's not go down that hole.
I didn't drink enough water today.
Is that what's happening?
I think so.
Brain
I think my
fog?
brain is not. Oh, did they mention how many family members he had? It seemed like a lot of them.
Like, what is it, like 6 aunts and uncles or something?
Something like that, yeah.
All right. I mean, it sounded like a really big family. So he was sending them all thousands of dollars all the time?
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot. And I feel like he was pretty young even at the beginning. Like when he said he wanted to go play the wedding to make like $200 or $300 or whatever, his mom was like, "I'm not driving you." He was going to make like
really
hundreds of dollars in a day, and she didn't want to drive him. I don't know. I like that in the author's note he was talking about how music is for everyone. You know, no matter your background or the color of your skin or anything like that. So there shouldn't be elitist aspects of music.
Right. Especially in classical music. That's another story.
I know there's like so many stories of women like trying to get into gaming and then eventually just leaving because it ends up being so hard to keep fighting against like everything. So like kudos to him to have whatever kind of fortitude is necessary to keep going to do something that you love so much.
Yeah, it's like he was really good at showing how many extra obstacles there are to people of color to do what they want. I thought.
I think what was most infuriating and probably what made me the most emotional was not that they were just like talking to him and reacting to him in a certain way, it was they weren't even listening to him.
Right.
Like whether it was the cops and him being like, "Hey, I'm performing," like just like how I can't imagine engaging with another human being and not even being willing to stop to listen to their question, to answer their question, to like respond to them like a human being. Like he wasn't even getting that. Like to have to keep being like, "This is my violin. I'd like to get it repaired. How much is it going to cost?" How much did they charge him for that first repair? Was it like $400 or was it?
It was a lot. To do a half-assed job.
No.
$10 million. That's wild. Oh, I guess that's what I was wondering. If that story, that part of the story was accurate in any way about like a violin being handed down to a slave and then
Could very well be. Right.
Yeah, I didn't try looking it up, but I guess I will. So, because that was, I feel like, a really interesting aspect of the story.
Well, plus, I guess the public relations at the end, it's like, well, hey, you know, your person owned the violin and the person who played it. So, you know, that's a bit of a problem.
Did either of you expect it to resolve at the end the way it did? Not necessarily like who took it, but because I feel like everything happened in like one chapter. Like right after she said, the wrap up. I felt like that happened a little bit quickly. Like he heard something she said, it felt off, and then immediately he was like, it was her. And then he was in her house without her being. Did he break into her house too?
He went to her house. He went to her old house where the ex-boyfriend or current boyfriend lived. Broke into his house while he wasn't there. Stole the shed keys and took it and went to the storage unit. Lied to the guy to get in. Like he did everything wrong to put things right, but
Right.
I mean, he was wronged this entire book. So
right.
I guess it felt like a tad bit unbelievable, maybe with the quickness of how he kind of put all those pieces together to, like, I can't imagine breaking and entering and then happen to find like some storage envelope and the keys and like, I don't know. But
I had to wrap it up somehow.
And then what was the woman's name? Her name started with an A, I think.
Alicia,
yeah. Alicia kept telling him, stop.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, sure. And then he just started.
Like, don't do anything dumb. Don't do anything without me. Blah blah blah. So he's like, I can't wait.
Mm-hmm.
Did you expect him to write the letter that he wrote to the judge? Not necessarily write the letter, but what he said to the judge. Because I was actually, I was a little surprised by that.
Nuh-uh. She deserves whatever the hell she.
Not that I was expecting him to write to the judge to grant her any kind of leniency, but I didn't expect him to be like, give her the maximum.
Throw the book. Throw the book at her. Well, yeah, reason to though. I mean,
but did they arrest her and the other boyfriend?
Yeah, no, they both got time.
Okay.
And they were both fined a different amount. I think like Marcus, whatever his name was fined like $900,000, and then she was fined, I think, 1.2 or 1.8 million, something like that.
Crazy.
Did they say what happened to all the money that he raised?
I mean, I imagine. Oh shit! I don't know.
I'd imagine he gave it all
in a
back.
situation
I mean,
like
that's
that,
what I
it would
assumed.
probably
He
get
gave
dumped
it all back
into other pockets from the whatever site that they donated through.
I just don't remember it being actually mentioned, because I don't know if he hit the 5 million mark, but I know he got really, really close to it, which is another insane number to me. Like
So what about the Tchaikovsky competition?
I appreciated that he was a finalist, and I guess got silver without having the violin. Because while the instrument was very valuable and very important to him, I think it demonstrates, that he is the musician and he is the one with all of the talent and skill, and he was still able to do all that without the violin. Like, it wasn't this magical thing, because I feel like sometimes people think that, like,
right,
that just getting a more expensive instrument is just going to make you
a better player.
Yeah. And the fact that he was the first American to do those things, I thought was really cool too.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I understood what was happening with the first place guy. Because I know
What about him?
I know that he tried to like connect with him to see if he could find out about the violin. But then all of a sudden, he wasn't running into him, almost like Mikhail was avoiding him or something. And I guess I didn't understand why that was being set up that way.
Well, even before he actually talked to Mikhail about it, he said he even mentioned to Mikhail, "You're a hard man to find."
Right.
So Mikhail keeps to himself. He's not out. He's probably just. Either way, it's also part of it playing into the red herring that Mikhail was to begin with. Right there was this violin up for sale on the black market from where he was from. So that was just another person for us to look at.
What do you guys think allows certain people to encounter so much negativity and still not turn into bad people?
I don't know.
Like, do you think it's just some people are born that way? Do you think it's something that that was passed down to him in the sense where, like, because I know his grandmother had told him about respect, right? Because her papa had told her that same thing. So do you think that's something that was just the message was passed down to him as a child and he held on to that?
Possibly. I mean, the not wanting to disappoint grandma, because she said, don't change the sweet boy that you are.
Right.
I mean, that's something that was actually mentioned a few times. So.
I mean, but it's just hard.
Wanting to make grandma happy rather than, taking everything personally.
Mm-hmm. And staying true to yourself. No, it's not becoming the person that they think you are.
That's beautiful. I just, like, who could blame him if he did? Like, who could blame him? Who could, like, gosh. I know the human spirit is strong, but that's like...
That's why the dark side is so seductive.
And I think it was when he was at the competition, but there was a moment where he was talking about, like, really finally kind of sitting with the grief of losing the violin and not having it and not playing music. And, like, I think that's when he really realized that his grandmother was gone too. So, like, he was kind of doing or experiencing, like, a double grief there, or at least the loss of the violin helped him finally, like, process the loss of his grandmother or whatever.
Right. Well, that's the last of that world passing away, isn't it? I mean, the one who, like, she knew his great grandfather, and she had talked to him, and it's like, she's the one obviously who wrote the note saying, with him dictating what she was to write. But yeah, that was his last connection to that particular world.
So, and I guess the letter in and of itself was what was enough evidence to prove that the violin belongs to them.
Or at least to make them back down and not, pursue it. So, because the optics would not be good. Let's put it that way.
That whole situation is trash too. They're like, oh, my family owns your family, so that's mine. No,
Yeah.
Screw you. What? Wrong with you?
Yeah, I think I mean, one of the things I liked and didn't like about his portrayal of the Marxists, like, how they were so pleasant, like, at the beginning, and when they didn't get what they want, all right, and all right, full on racist, here we go. So
they kept saying that they would, like, I don't think the word that they used was reimburse, but it sounded like they were willing to buy it off of him. Do you think they were willing to pay that 10 million price tag, or okay?
No, I think that wasn't even offered before before they were like, hey, oh, that, yeah, they asked about that before they went in court.
now they did, but it was like 1/100th of its value.
Right.
That's what they offered him or something like that. Something ridiculous like that. It's like, no, I get what you're doing, but no. I will give you $100,000, which still is a lot more than Ray has seen in his lifetime, but still, that's not the point. The point is, that's much, you can get much more for it. If he was inclined to sell, which he is not, he's actually freaking using the violin, and he's good enough to make it sing. So he should have it.
If you guys were Ray and you had this $10 million violin, would you let it go, and for what amount? Like, would you sell it, and for what amount?
I think the question there, the related question is, are you playing it like he does?
Right. That's another thing. If I had been if someone pushed me to learn it as a young age, and actually I cared about the music, then I probably wouldn't let it go. But that's a hard question, because even now I'm thinking, would I learn? Mm-hmm. Would I learn to play?
Probably not.
I'm crappy, but I'm playing a $10 million.
But he obviously, okay. So at some point, AJ wanted a bass guitar, right? And I said, okay, I will get you a bass guitar, but that's not the type of gift that I'm just going to go out and get you and bring home. Mm-hmm. I said, you have to come with me to the store. You have to touch it. You have to hold it. You have to feel and connect it to it. And Correct. You have to feel good playing it. So I'm not just going to go out and buy it for you. So I have no doubt that he had like a physical connection, and not just the emotional one of knowing that it was like his pop-ups or whatever, but like a very physical connection to the violin, because even when he was shopping for a new one, he said, but can't we fix this one? Right. And so I like that he just, I guess, knew internally. Because how much were they charging him for repairing it? I think it was like,
it was a few hundred.
No. That was the first guy. I'm talking about the second guy.
To restore it?
Yeah.
After they realized what it was?
Yeah, because I think she was trying to get him to buy a $5,000 something.
Yeah.
And he was like, but can't we fix this one? But can't we fix this one? And they were like, it looks like crap. Why would you want to fix it? What?
Well, they get more out of the sale than fixing it.
Yes.
Than fixing an old one.
And good luthiers, like anything else, are not cheap. So, to say.
Excuse me for a minute. I gotta use the restroom.
Okay. I have to look up what the low end cost of a violin is. John, you want to learn how to play the violin?
I want to learn how to play something.
But yeah, you have to be dedicated to the instrument to be able to perform that well. Because who was it? I think it was David Kim. He's the concertmaster for the Philadelphia Orchestra. There's a video of him somewhere, and I couldn't find it yet. But he was talking about pursuing like the soloist life as opposed to being like in an orchestra, and how different that was. It was just very informative. It's like, oh yeah, you don't think about that, but as a concert soloist, you go from hall to hall to hall to hall, like he does here. Compare that to a steady job. It's like, okay, I got a job with an orchestra. I can show up here however many days a week and get my salary. It's a different thing.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Although there was like a lot of negativity and a lot of just hurdles and challenges that he encountered kind of being in the classical music world, I think it was still interesting to read a story that takes place in that, because that's not stuff. Yeah, that's not stuff that I'm familiar with or
the traditional traditionally white realm. Yes.
Yeah.
But also too, it's one thing I liked about it is when I don't remember the kid's name, but he came to audition and like the judges automatically wrote him off because he was like Ray. Yeah, and I said no. oh, you should, and he was giving him tips and stuff, just like, and that's what's so important is like, you recognize the worth of somebody, and then it's like you want to foster that artistic development, and that's what Ray did. He did it because, oh, I recognize you, me and you, or you and me, but still wouldn't have gotten a shot otherwise, which I think is important.
I don't remember where it was. Like there was some, I don't know if it was an event or a festival or something like that, where he ended up like coaching or teaching some students, and then somebody like complained. They complained that he was giving preferential treatment to specific students,
which he was, but
right. I mean,
yeah,
totally understandable. Like,
yes, because they would not be, they would not receive attention at all otherwise.
Right.
Like, yes, that's like a half truth. It's like, yes, that's true, but here's the other part of that sentence, sort of a thing.
But he said, I remember him saying, "Who said that?" And whoever was speaking to him was like, "Oh, well, it doesn't matter who said it. It matters who said it, because we all know who said it."
Yeah, and protecting them. It's like, oh, well, that's interesting. So.
But I just appreciate that he had the integrity to be like, "Don't invite me back here unless you make this more diverse."
Yeah. Absolutely. But also, too, I had a thought and it just went right in my head. Damn it. Yeah. I'll have to think about it. But no, it's the kind of thing where, it's hard enough to be, number one, to be able to play that well. And then number two, it's like, well, no, we don't want you because of your skin color or whatever. It's like, you don't look like you could play that. But it's like, dude, if you're standing on that stage, you goddamn well put that work in. Because they would like, all of a sudden, boom, gone. You're, we don't need to hear you. Thanks. Next sort of a thing. So.
I think something the book did really well was just to capture that love for music, but how they described the talent that he had, that, because anybody can learn the skill, right? But that he had that talent to connect with the music on an emotional level that like really resonates and translates as he's playing the music. And I think the book just did a really good job of describing that connection to the music.
Okay, here's the bias right here. It's the kind of thing where, yes, I've heard younger players and they are technically brilliant. There's no emotion in their playing. Some pieces require that you had to have lived a little to get the full, weight of what they're trying to tell you. So
that's interesting. It has a lot to do with Dorian's acting and figuring out what love is, and then can no longer act out love anymore.
Right.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense in order to understand what the music piece is trying to say if you've never actually had that experience.
Exactly. And what does your art say if you haven't had that experience? Yeah.
There was some musical pieces in between the chapters, or the parts, maybe it was in between the parts.
That really pissed me off. I get it, but it's like, oh my god, stop. I just want to hear the book.
Well, I was gonna say, I'm curious if Brendan Slocumb, if that was any of his stuff.
Unclear.
Because that would be, I'm gonna look that up, because I feel like that would be interesting, and I would appreciate if it was, if we got to hear some of his playing. Because that would be on YouTube, cool, I feel like.
But also too, even in regards of his playing, did you look up any of the pieces that he was talking about?
One.
Which one? The Tchaikovsky?
Sarasate, I think.
Oh, okay, Sarasate, yeah. Okay, some of them I knew was like, oh yeah, because like the Meditation on Thais was like, that's a, and I have albums like, oh yeah, check, that's on it. The Carmen Fantasy, yep, that's on it. That's.
I don't know why of all the ones that were mentioned, that was the one
That
that
was
I
the one,
decided
hey,
to look
hey,
at.
that's
But I was
cool.
like, I know this one. I've heard this
Yeah, hey,
before.
yeah.
And then I turned to John and I was like, I would like to see an opera.
That would spurred that.
They are quite fun. If you do go, just be prepared. When they say a night at the opera, they do mean a night at the opera.
What does that mean?
You're there for
It's
a
like
while.
really long.
Yeah, it's like 3.5 hours, like 2 intermissions sort of a thing.
I mean, I feel like a lot
I've
of
been to the opera. It's like,
no.
it was Mozart of all things. And it's like, yeah, it was great. But it's like, oh my God, this is so long. This is what you do before you had TV and such, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Third intermission, Act 4 coming next.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
What?
You want to hear something funny? I don't think I noticed whether the book was in first person or third person. Was it in first person?
I don't recall. Honestly, must not have been important. How about that?
I mean, it
How
is
about that for
usually
writing that off?
yeah, it is usually so important to me. So let's see.
Well, what was it? I think there was.
Chances are it's in first person because she wouldn't have liked it otherwise.
That's what I'm saying, but I don't know if it was.
I recall there being a shift, and I cannot remember when. Like for maybe a chapter or two, when they shifted tense. So.
This is not looking.
No, it's third person at least.
Wow, I feel like that's incredible that it had me in tears, and because I don't know.
It was from the circumstances. You weren't actually thinking what the character was thinking. You saw what they were going through, and you were like, "Well, crap, that sucks."
It sucks really bad.
Empathy sucks, man.
No, stop.
No, like I was just laying in bed and like the tears were just like rolling down my face. I had to keep wiping them. No, that's awesome. Because I was going to say what you guys thought of the writing or like the way the book was set up and how it was kind of like present day and then kind of going back in time to show you, the history of the
I was frustrated by that at first, but I can totally understand why he did that. So
right.
Yeah, he's like, oh, here's this really good thriller. And, oh, wait, let's go back to 18, whatever it was. And no. So, but again, I get why he did it. So, not dissing, it's just saying. It's a credit to him that he made the thriller part so thrillery that it's like, oh, I want to find out what happens. No, you have to wait. So,
there's always that.
So, would you guys read his second book?
I would, yeah.
A Symphony of Secrets. I don't know what that's about, but I would still read it. I'm just sad that I would have to buy that cover. The very bright, colorful, abstract-looking cover.
There's no other options?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think even the hardcover is like the same.
That reminds me when we're off offline, I have to show you something.
Okay. I'm gonna look this up really quick. See if there's a difference. Symphony.
Oh, it's already up there.
Okay.
You already looked it up? Ew.
I'm sure the story is wonderful. It has 1,609
I'm sure they're
reviews.
But how do they go from awesome piece of artwork to
okay, like
that's a piece of artwork.
Here's the really, really super ridiculously sad thing. Okay, so I guess this would be like a cutout that would be on a violin, and there is a black face in it. And the super sad thing is that people would see that and not pick it up. People would see a black person on the cover and they wouldn't pick up this
upsetting.
book. And so now we have a very abstract looking thing that they're not going to connect to. It's just that's the way marketing is, and it's awful. it's awful that in order to appeal to a wider audience, that
Right.
I think this cover is beautiful. I think this cover speaks to me so much more than
Agreed.
but let's see. So this is the hardcover, which looks exactly the same, and then this is the paperback,
What was
which
the
looks exactly the same.
what was the name of the device where they would you put it on a piece of paper and then you would like have like the spirals.
So
it would make different cut, like different whatever it is. It looked like they broke one of those and then just went with it.
What, like a kaleidoscope?
No.
it's like the stereograph something.
Yeah,
something.
it would create something that would be kaleidoscopic, but spirograph? Is that what it's called?
Maybe. Tom, have you seen this cover? Hold on, I'll drop this.
No, I've not. I see it though.
Oh, okay.
I have not. Apparently, it's a little bit higher rated than his first book. This is his first novel, by the way. I think.
What?
This is his first novel, the one we read.
Yeah.
So
it's
good on him.
Good for him first, right? Yeah. But they just overlaid a bunch of shapes.
I mean, it's giving me Fibonacci sequence vibes.
Yeah, just the spiral. I see the spiral. But it's broken. Fibonacci sequence stops at the hexagon.
All right. Anyway, I do want to read it. We've all agreed that we would like to read it.
Yeah, we're gonna read it.
Oh, here. So okay, here was the new Violin Conspiracy cover.
Same artist, I'm guessing.
No, I don't know, but versus
the first cover's way better.
Yeah.
The Good Morning America Book Club edition.
I had to have this like special ordered.
Can I curse right now? Because that's Jesus.
Who am I?
Good Morning America Book Club. Go.
What? Why are you hating on the Good Morning America Book Club?
They had to change the because why?
Again, his book is not the only book. They look at sales and they do some things in marketing and they re-release books all the time. They re-release books all the time with new covers to see if they can like
remarket it, right?
Yeah, and reach a different demographic. So, but yeah. All right, you guys ready for ratings?
Sure. 4 stars.
Okay.
That's where I'm gonna sit.
Do you have anything else to add? Like a mini review, like how it made you feel?
It just made me hate humans more.
Oh my god.
It's a good read though.
Would you recommend it to others?
Yeah. I think a whole lot of people like me need to read it.
Oh, you're muted.
Oh no.
Tom, you're muted.
We can't hear you.
I don't know if you accidentally pressed the mute button or not, but like there's a slash. There's a slash through your microphone icon.
Just saying, if it gets more people to pick that up and understand how hard it is to work.
I mean, then it was worth it, right?
Yeah.
I just didn't want that cover. Whatever, I bought the book anyway. But I just think it's interesting that I hadn't heard about this story at all, and then it was because of this the cover comparison that I was like, no, I'm gonna find that other book before it's not available anymore.
Right.
And so I made sure to go out of my way to get the original cover.
It's completely stopped. Recognize that you have a microphone. What's going on?
That sucks. That's weird. I wonder if there's like a kink in the wire or something. I guess while Tom is trying to figure that out, I will share my reading. It made me feel all sorts of things. Obviously, some very sad, some just like disappointed in humanity. But I just loved his story. I loved his resilience. I loved his connection to music. I love that he generally just followed his heart all the way through. And I thought it was a very interesting story. I liked hearing about the history of the violin. I liked being kind of just a little bit of insight into the classical music world. I think it was really well written. If I didn't even stop to notice that it was first person or third person.
Right.
The narrator was really good. I would absolutely recommend this. I would love to meet the author, and I give it 5 stars. It's a 5 stars for me. I will probably be thinking about this for a long time, I think. Hold on, let me see if I can click on anything. Nope. Tom, do you think it would help to pop out and pop back in? Oh, he can't hear either.
Oh, maybe that's a StreamYard thing then. Maybe it just broke.
Hold on. Let's see if maybe that will help, because that kind of sucks. Okay, he's gonna try. Oh, well, yeah, that makes sense. He's gonna try popping out and popping back in so we can get Tom's review of the Violin Conspiracy.
I'm cooking tonight, right?
I think so. How many recipes do we have?
1.
Just one? Is it just one? Is it 2?
I thought it was just 1. I think I just cooked yesterday, right?
Did you cook yesterday?
Oh my god. How old are we?
Wait, did you? Wait, was it the really good stuff? Like broccoli and carrots and chicken? Yeah, that was good.
Tonight is I don't remember now.
Well, if there's only one recipe, I kind of want that pizza again.
I'm down.
That Lazy Moon pizza was really good.
There's one piece in the fridge. Oh wait, no, that's pepperoni.
The pepperoni.
No, get a whole of that one.
I think I might, because AJ's not going to eat anything.
I'll cook tomorrow.
Oh my god.
Tomorrow.
You know what? This is really funny. It says, I loved the Violin Conspiracy for exactly the same reasons I loved the Queen's Gambit. A surprising, beautifully rendered underdog hero I cared about deeply, and a fascinating cutthroat world I knew nothing about, in this case, classical music. I love that comparison because
no, I think we lost Tom.
Rating, thoughts, I'll share them. Okay, so I love that comparison because at some point I was reading this and thinking about how much I loved kind of seeing into this classical music world, and it reminded me of Check and Mate by Ali Hazelwood because of how like I got to see inside of the chess world and how fascinating
Yeah,
that was.
and how male dominated it is there too.
And of course that led us to watch The Queen's Gambit. So I think that's
Right.
funny. Okay, so Tom says
He gives it
4 stars. Okay, I don't know if he's going to provide any additional information. If he does, I will share it with you guys. But 4 stars from John, 4 stars from Tom, and for me, it is 5 stars. I mean, I love books that make me feel things, and this really made me feel things.
There are very few books that you've actually texted me while reading them.
Really?
Yeah, that you're like, what the, or oh my god, or I can't do this.
I know, it was rough. It was rough. I was having a hard time. I was genuinely having a hard time, and I think it just took me by surprise. I wasn't expecting.
And I tried to warn you. It gets worse. He's got more to say.
Okay, so Tom says, I like the story, especially how it showed the extra obstacles that people of color face when they try to do anything in America. And that's very accurate. And so, like, you know, as much as I don't like the new cover, John said, you know, I hope that does reach an entirely new demographic. And I hope it helps shed some light on those experiences. And also, people need more empathy. Okay, and he said, and how Ray stayed true to himself through it all. Yeah, 100%. I agree. I agree with that. He was a very consistent character, and his honesty, his integrity, all the challenges that he faced, like, he was awesome. And, you know, and like, I think either the dedication or the author's note mentions how Ray was modeled after his brother.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. So that is our, wait, he might have one more thought. But that is our April book pick. And for May.
I say, don't leave us in suspense now, Tom. We saw you typing.
Right. I see bubbles. I see the 3 dots. Oh, also how Ray let Nicole in and then paid the price for that.
Boo.
Yeah, I was worried about that. I don't know. I felt like I knew. I just felt like I knew. I felt like I kept thinking about, like, who would do this? And, like, I understand why he suspected the Marks family, but I was like, no, it's going to be someone so much worse than that. It's going to, like she's, like, the worst person it could be. And that's why I felt like it was going to be her. Because that was just the most devastating blow, to think you're in love with someone and they did that to you. Like, come on, that's so messed up. Anyway,
that's how murder happens.
So for May's book, and this is actually Tom's pick, we are going to be reading the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin, which is the first book in a trilogy. The Broken Earth trilogy.
And 5th season. I guess it doesn't really go into Florida's fire season, does it?
What? Oh,
okay.
Somebody give this to me. Okay.
I'm like, it's got your name in it already.
I am not sure I even know, like, what this book is about.
Well, it starts with betrayal, and it starts with death.
Okay, so it says, this is the way the world ends for the last time. It starts with the great red drift across the heart of the world's sole continent, spewing ash that blots out the sun. It starts with death, with a murdered son and a missing daughter. It starts with betrayal, a long dormant wound rising up to fester. This is the stillness, a land familiar with catastrophe, where the power of the earth is wielded as a weapon and where there is no mercy. And again, it is the first book in a trilogy, so this is what we are reading for May. So hopefully, if you've read this, you will join us next month. Haven't established a date yet, but I'll be posting it at some point. I will try to make an upcoming live event on the YouTube channel so you guys know when that's happening. If you've popped in at any point, thank you for joining us. Once again, if you ever want to join us in conversation on screen, you can do that by becoming a Book Club VIP member at patreon.com/Libri Labra. Outside of that, if you've made it this far, thank you and have a wonderful weekend. May the 4th be with you.